Okay, time to go record a video on everything that's happened since CBT1. Shouldn't be too much, right? There's only been a couple of trailers, so there can't be that much information out there, can there? Shit. So, originally I was going to do a bit of a reaction video of sorts, but there's been a lot of stuff that has happened. It's not just one or two trailers anymore. We got like probably an hour of stuff to go over. So instead, I've decided I'm going to break this up into 4 sections. We got graphics, combat, new features, and characters. And then at the end of all of that, if something doesn't fit into those categories, and it's kind of important, I'm just going to slide that in at the end. So, with all that said, let's get into it. First up, major graphics overhaul. They've changed practically everything. It's been honestly insane to see how much they've changed. The first thing I noticed was Taichung City has had a massive glow up. If it is Taichung City, I'm not actually sure, because it's changed so much that I'm not sure if it's the same city or if it's a different city. But yeah, that's changed a lot. So, the second thing I noticed was it's really hard to locate where the areas are. So I did a lot of going through CBT1 trying to find the areas that they showed off in the CBT2 footage, basically, and it was insanely hard to find where they were. One I found though was the dim forest, and here's a comparison of that. It has been changed so much and looks so much better in my personal opinion. It has so many more colors now, it's so much more vibrant, and it's so much more beautiful overall. Next up, the character designs. They've changed a lot. Just like the tech test Chixia to the CBT1 Chixia, I think we've had a similar glow up of every single character. Every single character has gone from about a 7, I'd say, on the gacha characters scale to like a 9 or a 10. It's been an insane glow up through CBT1 to CBT2, and especially from the tech test. You can't even compare what they started at to what they are now. The changes run so deep that you even have Yutan, the TD that Baiji uses, even that's had a major glow up. I feel like we've had some insane changes to the graphics. Along with that, we also have revamped ultimates, which is just another area that they're adding on to, and it's amazing. Next up, let's talk about the combat. The first thing I noticed was that the Scar boss fight has another phase. The new phase to the boss fight is honestly so cool, and he throws you around and stuff. I think he'll be one of the harder bosses now, which is amazing. The next thing I noticed was that the animations have had a major overhaul. Now the fighting is a lot smoother, it's a lot better, it's crisp, okay? The fighting is now crisp. That's the word I would use to describe it. Another thing they added is that now we have 3 new bosses. The Impermanence Heron, the Mech Abomination, and the Tempest Mephis. I can't pronounce that at all, but we have 3 new bosses. I'm actually really excited for that. I think these are the 3 bosses they're talking about, but I might not be able to find them all. Another thing they added to the combat is that they added a lot of echo abilities, and the echo abilities are a lot more involved against certain bosses, so you might actually want to change your echoes from boss to boss to make it so you have an advantage against that boss. I honestly think this is a major improvement, because the original echoes were kind of boring in a way, but this new update to it, it's gonna be so nice. Another thing they adjusted is the cameras. The cameras are now a lot better. There's less camera shakes, the tracking feature is way better, and they've just had overall better camera improvements, which is going to help a bunch in combat. I think that's one of the best things they've added in terms of combat. But that's not the only thing they've added in terms of combat. They've actually sort of redone the QTE system. Now they call it intro and outro skills. So basically it'll be a lot more smoother now, and you'll have a lot more variation to how the skills work. Also, just a side note of one of the big things that I noticed while watching some of the new gameplay from TGS, for example, the skill gap seems to have grown more somehow. With all of the new added features and combos and stuff, the skill gap seems massive from someone who's good at the game to someone who's bad at the game, and someone who's just starting to someone who has a little more experience. I honestly feel like this is one of the best things that they're doing, is that there will just be massive skill gaps between players, but I think everyone will still be able to beat all of the content eventually. And I really like how they're going about this, because it just makes for a more inclusive experience while still making players feel rewarded for the time they put in and the dedication they put into getting better. With all that said about the combat, let's move on to the new features. Now, there aren't too many new features as I thought there would be, but we do have quite a fair few. So first up, we have the elusive versions of echoes. This is a major change, as now we have shiny hunting in the game. This will make for a lot more repetitive content and a lot of things to chase after as we're going through the game. I think this is a major improvement to the game, and will just give something for players to strive for as they're just playing through the game. And it's something that's not like more stats. Instead, it's more of a cosmetic thing, which is a major thing that is needed in most games, because just striving after power isn't always the best. Another thing they changed is they mostly redesigned the UI. So the UI has had major improvements. And it's not only in the menus and stuff, you can also see this just while looking at the gameplay. The UI has seen some major improvements, and it's overall just a lot cleaner and a lot more nice to navigate. Another one I've seen the devs talking about a lot is the weather changing. It changes between Etheric Sea, Celestial Anomaly, and Retroact Rain. I think there's also just like your base, this is the normal weather thing, but those are 3 events, I would assume. I assume they're talking about this a lot because it actually has some impact on the gameplay or something, but I'm not sure. Maybe they're just really excited about this because it looks nice. But that certainly isn't the biggest feature. Let's talk about the biggest feature. We got a skip button, boys! Remember other gacha games where you didn't have a skip button? Not gonna say any names. Well, in this game, we have a skip button. It's gonna make any boring quests a lot more manageable and make the ones that aren't boring a lot more fun. Another new feature is an activity called Tactical Hologram Calamity, which seems to be basically a challenge arena. If you want a challenge, you go to the Calamity and you fight a boss that's harder than usual. Honestly, I love that they're still keeping in mind that hardcore players will be playing this game, and they're adding in stuff that will be for the players who just want to challenge themselves. This is a great addition. I'm glad they added it. Another thing they talked about in the dev notes is that they're adding an event into CBT2. Honestly, I'm not too excited for the event because it's just racing, but it could be really good as well. And it's definitely more of an innovation in events than I've seen in most gacha games. So I'm a smidge excited. Okay, now let's talk about the characters. First up, let's talk about the non-playable characters that we've seen so far that might be playable in the future. First up, we got this lady who seems to be very important in the story. I didn't really look at the story in CBT1, so I'm not sure if she was there, but she seems to be really important, so I'm assuming that she's going to be playable in the future. The second one seems to be the big villain lady, who will probably be the big villain after we fight Scar. Next up, in the background of the interview, I did a bit of looking, and I found one character reference that didn't look like any of the characters in the game. All the others were playable characters, but that one didn't look like any of the current playable characters that we know of. Might be another playable character that we'll get in the future. And the white hair? Nice. Also, a side note, someone should probably look into the books in the background, because those might be some hidden Easter eggs on how the story is going to go. So yeah, someone get on that. Moving on, let's talk about the characters we know are playable. First off, we got Jianxin. He's a light character who seems to use fists as his weapon and has quite a cool ultimate and ability and stuff. I'm going to leave this character sheet on screen. I'm not sure exactly what he does, but should be around about that. Next up, Kakarot. He's a sword user who uses the electric element. Currently, not much is known about him at all, to be honest. We don't really know what exactly he does, but I'm going to put this character sheet up. This is sort of my roundabout, here's what he might do. One we have a better idea of, though, is Jianxin, who uses the wind element and uses her fists, which is pretty cool. And as I did with the rest of the characters, here's a character sheet of what I think she does, because we don't exactly know yet, but she's the easiest one to figure out. And lastly, we have the extra category. I didn't have too much to write here since most of the stuff was covered in the other things, but I did want to note that they changed 90% of the story, so the story is going to be completely different now. I really like the direction they're going in as well from all of the cinematics and stuff we've seen so far. They also added new quests, new character quests and stuff, which will let you get in touch with the characters just a little bit more. And the last thing I wrote in this extra section was just how great the devs have been about this game. I really like their direction and that they're listening to the community. They're trying to change stuff. They're trying to make a good game. That's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to make a good game. I really respect the devs and kudos to them. They're doing an amazing job. Also, a few things I forgot to mention in my last video. First of all, there are 5 weapon types. You have heavy blade, sword, pistol, gauntlets, and Orator. These are your 5 different weapon types for now. I think they've talked about adding more, but that's still to be seen. You also have 6 elements, which are light, dark, fire, ice, wind, and electric, or as they're known in game, Spectra, Havoc, Fusion, Glacio, Aero, and Conducto. Harry Potter spells. Lastly, for this video, I have one more thing I want to do, and that is react to the opening cinematics since they came out while I was recording this video. So let's do that real quick. Okay, let's go. Decide to skip to the second one since I want to see the female MC. Holy. The whole thing has crumbled to ash. What the hell? Got the Eye of Sauron there. Is that like the goddess or something? The goddess is touching our forehead. What's the goddess doing? What's the goddess doing? Okay. Hey, hand holding is legal. Stop that. Stop. Does this happen to everyone, or is this a specific to us character thing? I must say the goddess is hot. The goddess is really hot. So you have a black hole or whatever. And stuff freezes. This is not very descriptive. What the hell is going on here? Man, can we just rewind that for a sec? Can we just need a... Look at that smile. That smile was so nice. Traveling through dimensions, okay. And then we fall into water. What? So we're just upside down. We just spawn upside down. What even is that? Why are we upside down? Okay, does that mean there is no sky? It's just water or something? I'm not sure what's that. What's it gonna be? That's a bit weird. Thank you, Wuthering Waves. Also, is that just a cool effect, or are they trying to tell us something? There doesn't seem to be... Okay, there doesn't seem to be anything too weird with that. Don't worry, guys. Okay, that was a good trailer. And with all of that, that's all I got for you today. I hope this video was informative and it helped you out a little bit, and hopefully it was a little entertaining, maybe a little funny. But if you liked it, leave a like. If you really liked it, leave a subscribe. If you didn't like it, feel free to dislike. Let me know how much you hate me in the comments. And with all of that said, see you in the next one. I'll probably be making more Wuthering Waves content. Hey, peace.